It's all about shading tips today, so these are really straightforward, little easy activities that you can do either in the front of your sketchbook or just before you start to do a drawing. This is the type of thing that I would do all the time just to develop my ability to draw with my hand and coordinate my brain and my fingers. Sometimes my brain and my mouth doesn't work very well, but if you keep on doing these little activities, then maybe your brain and your hand will be in better coordination than my brain and my mouth. Okay, let's get going with this then. So the first thing we need to do is think about how we hold our pencil. When we're writing, we hold our pencil a little bit like this, and we'll get quite a strong dark mark. You can see all the gaps in that shading though. If you hold your pencil further into the palm of your hand like this and keep it long and hold it on its side, you'll get much nicer shading. You're using the side of the graphite then. So you need to think about how you're holding your pencil when you're doing your shading. And then a little practice for getting all the different strengths of tone is to put your pencil on the paper and go down, varying the tones as you go. This is quite difficult for me. This is, while I'm talking and doing this, it's definitely one of those moments where you need to stick your tongue out and do some serious concentration. It's all about trying to get a range of tones when you're shading. The more greys you've got, the more realistic it's going to appear. Now we need to make sure our shading is blended all nice and smoothly. You should be able to do that with your pencil, but if you want to do it with your finger, there's nothing wrong with that. You can blend very carefully your shading with your finger. To do it with your pencil, you'd hold your pencil on its side and you'd need to very carefully shade so that there's no paper showing through and it's nice and blended smoothly. If your pencil's too sharp, then when you come to shading, you'll end up with lots of little lines like this. So blunt the pencil a little bit, and then when you come to shade, if it's blunt on the very end, you'll be able to avoid those marks and be able to avoid all the white paper showing through. So as a little practice, don't forget, before you're doing a drawing or just to warm up, all you need to do is to hold your pencil and practice putting different pressure onto paper, going from dark to light, and that's a nice little warm-up exercise. Let's formalise this a little bit and do a couple more exercises and make them a little bit more presentable. I'm just going to draw some little squares quite roughly on my paper. This will be a good thing to do just to practice in your sketchbook before doing a drawing. And what you need to do is work out how you feel comfortable shading something. Now, some people I have seen shade and they go round and round and round like that in little circles. And what you can do is work over the top and have some darker areas and some lighter areas like that, and you do get a lot of control with that technique. Another way would be to hold your pencil on its side and try and get the edge of the graphite on the paper and just go in one direction like this, and you vary the pressure that you put in onto the paper with your pencil for darker and lighter areas. If you are shading with the side of your pencil, you need to make sure that you are shading in one direction. What we don't want is lots of scribbly marks like this going all over the place. We've got to try and avoid that. So whenever you're doing your shading, make sure you remember that you're getting a range of tones, that your tones are blended smoothly together, that you're not scribbling with your pencil, that all your shading is going in one direction, and that there's no white paper showing. Everything in the world has got tones, so there should be no white. Okay, let's try this again then, and we'll make this a little bit neater and put it in a rectangular box and do some more shading just like we've talked about, but this time with a little bit more control and a little bit more precision. I'm just going to start off by using my ruler to draw a rectangular box. Let's just put this line in here. Zoop. There we go. Right, and then on this left hand side what we're going to do is we're going to start to put in the darkest tone. Now, I've got a HB pencil here, and I'm just going to hold the pencil on its side and start to shade. And because this side is going to be the darkest tone, I'm going to press on quite hard. I'm going to try and replicate something along the lines of a 6B here, just with my HB pencil. So I'm going to press on really hard, but then as I work down the rectangle, I'm going to release the pressure so it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, and I'm creating a rectangle, a box that's got a whole range of tones in there. So I'm practicing shading with my pencil. I'll just blend that in You can use a blending tool. I've got quite a posh one here, or you could use a rolled up piece of paper one. Or failing that, give it the finger. So now I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit, make it a little bit neater, and blend all these tones together so they're nice and smooth. So when you see these kits that have got loads of different pencils in, all with different grades and strengths of tone, that's to help an artist get as many grades and tones into their work as they can. I've done all of this with just a normal HB pencil, and I've pressed on harder and pressed on lighter, but there are lots of pencils. I've picked up here a 6B that would have given me a darker tone. I've got a 2B, or not to be, that is the question. Some harder pencils. I've got a H here and a 4H. So just with these few pencils I can mark off the different tones that I've created just with my HB pencil. So the 6B would be in strength of tone round about here. But don't forget there are lots of different pencils. If I'd have pressed on harder and harder and harder, I'd have replicated a pencil more like an 8B. Right in the middle we've got a HB for hard bold. And then the 2B would be just a little bit to the left of that. So let's put in the 2B there. And this scale goes all the way, getting darker and darker, all the way up to charcoal. And this way gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But you can do absolutely everything with a HB, don't forget that. But if you want even more greys in your work, if you want to try and recreate a black and white photograph, which is really greys and white, then getting a whole range of pencils is definitely beneficial. I'm going to put a 4B in there, and the 2H would go in there. But hopefully by now you're getting the idea, and that'll be good practice for you to improve your shading.